guys, it's Chauster here with iBUYPOWER. I'll be doing a analysis on the Game 1 C9 versus Fnatic series that we saw at IEM Katowice this past weekend. So I'm going to start the video now. And first I'm going to go through the team compositions we have here. For C9, we have, I'd say the biggest characteristic of C9 team comp would be the Sivir pick, because Sivir's ulti synergizes really well with both Lee Sin and Shyvana. So what can C9's team comp do? They have good wave clear because they have Gragas. They have good pick potential because they have Thresh and Gragas, and they have good split pushing because they have Shyvana. They pretty much have some of everything here. It's just a pretty balanced team comp. No real weaknesses, no real huge strengths. So on the other hand, we have Fnatic's team comp, and right away you can see that with Fnatic's champion pool, Renekton, Pantheon, LeBlanc, Vayne, Zyra, it's not really a great team comp. Right away the weakness is already 5-on-5 because Pantheon's not great in 5v5s. And Renekton's strength is really, Renekton's strong. Renekton's pretty strong, but LeBlanc is also not optimal in 5v5s. So not only do you have Vayne, LeBlanc, you also have Pantheon. So Fnatic, they're really not looking for this game to be one of those, we're going to fight 5v5 at Baron when both of us have map control. Fnatic is the one who really needs to gain map control this game. They're going to need to win lane. They're going to need to keep that advantage, and with that advantage they can use Pantheon's strength, which is global presence, and LeBlanc's strength, which would be, she's really good with map control also. And that is how Fnatic would gain an advantage in this game. So pretty much TLDR, Fnatic will have to play really well in the early game, and they're going to have to utilize rotations and pressure really well. Versus C9, they can just play the game. It's not a big deal because they got some of everything. They got insurance for late game, all that good stuff. So talking about the lanes, we have LeBlanc versus Gragas. Gragas really can't do anything early. It's one of those matchups where if LeBlanc played it like really well, it's mainly because LeBlanc's junk. There's too much of a problem mid lane for C9 because LeBlanc plus Pantheon is instant death the moment you get silenced. You're pretty much just dead. Knowing this can happen whenever, then High cannot afford to play super aggressive. Because Lee Sin's okay, but LeBlanc, Pantheon will one-shot Gragas in the silence. Especially since he's chunked right now. So mid lane will always be in Fnatic's favor as long as C9 doesn't play too... As long as Fnatic doesn't throw, pretty much. And needless to say, Renekton is a lane bully top lane, and Renekton historically has had a very good matchup against Shyvana 1v1. So Fnatic's top side of the map is pretty secure. The only thing to watch here should be C9's bottom lane, where personally I feel that Thresh Sivir should win quite hard. Like, it's just weird when you look at how these guys are playing. They're playing pretty passive, really passive. If I was Thresh, I'd probably be up trying to harass the Vayne, even with the creep wave coming in. It's just really weird that they want to play so passive against the Zyra Vayne lane. The CC is so impossible basically to land. As long as you have summoners, it's pretty hard to die. But basically C9 playing, bottom lane playing a little too scared right here. I don't like seeing that. And High's dead. 2x PK 1v1. And it would go over the lane. They missed out on the kill, but earlier in the lane you saw High played the level 1 really well. He forced XPK to auto him multiple times for free, but it wasn't really for free because XPK took a shit ton of creep damage. That's why it kind of looked like Hai was actually winning this matchup at level 1. It's like, wow, how is Hai winning this matchup? Level 1, level 2? And then you realize that Hai is chunked now, and you have a LeBlanc that has instant silence. Well, not instant, but pretty much instant. So it's like, huh. Well then. How is Hai going to play the lane now after Pantheon gets double buffs? Yeah, it's just dead. But after Pantheon gets doubles and you don't have wards, Gragas can never go in unless it's guaranteed kill. And he's chunked and he's melee, so everything was disadvantage for him, and that's why Hai died. Not much you could do there. The only thing that could happen is Meteos would have to come out, show himself mid lane, get pushed in, give Hai a free base, and all that would still spell out huge disadvantages for C9, because then you'd see where the jungler is and everyone can go crazy. Bot lane would go crazy, or could, if they could even win the 2v2. But yeah, right now it looks like mid lane is going to have huge problems this game. And as for top lane, it's only down 10 CS. This is pretty much top lane. It's just going to be an AFK fest. Historically, Balls has done really well, I feel, in most of the matchups he's played. Since he plays a lot of Renekton, he plays a lot of Shyvana. I don't think he's going to have a problem. He's just going to play the matchup how it's supposed to go without dying, hopefully. So it's pretty much, it's just Hai right now that's really behind, and Meteos can't do anything too because it's LeBlanc. You pretty much just can't gank this LeBlanc. So you have bot lane. Bot lane is the only lane I feel that C9 has a chance to do anything in. Yeah, that was bad barrel. It was okay. It's just actually trying to invade blue here. Very aggressive play. And all this happened simply because Gragas can push LeBlanc in since he has so much wave clear. And also, Meteos was in a really good position to make a play right there. He is dead. No. So pretty much, despite C9 being behind in mid lane, they managed to come out ahead right there. Surprising. That was very surprising. You normally don't expect that when the Gragas gets first blood by LeBlanc, that he's able to exert any type of presence. But pretty much what happened is because Meteos is there. Meteos was in this area. He zoned off Cyanide. Also because it's pretty much Hai and Meteos played it really well. Despite being behind in the mid, they managed to push mid lane in simply because it's Gragas with a Lee Sin walking around, so LeBlanc didn't want to go crazy. And yeah, that's kind of snowballed into taking Fnatic's blue. But because they take the blue, they expended so many resources taking blue. They're gonna back out, and Fnatic gets free dragon. Worth? Not really. What happened was they didn't expect it to be so highly contested at the blue. Had they known, they wouldn't have traded blue for drag. It's not worth it all. And also another factor for how they were able to get that blue for C9 is that their bot lane was winning. You see right now, Sivir is ahead by 16. Wow. Can't believe Sinai lived. But yep. Has this game changed? No. Gotta think about the win conditions here. Fnatic still wants to stay in lane. They gotta actually do something with their lane. They gotta actually, Fnatic's gotta actually do something with their advantage here. And I think it all depends on XPK, pretty much. I think if Balls never hesitated for even like a split second, he might have been able to get it. But yeah, C9 is really putting a shit ton of pressure out right now. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Gragas is doing so well mid lane. Wow. So basically, if you just look at the team comps, already you can see, you know, Vayne's lane presence, it's really bad, dude. Silver Thresh, they should dumpster Zyra, Vayne, and also, I feel like C9 played the lane wrong in the beginning. They could have had a much bigger advantage. Yeah. Balls, I think Balls has been doing really well top lane. He's only down what, 15 CS, roughly 15 CS in a match, and yeah, that's pretty much what goes on in the early game. And after that, he's stayed really even. On the other hand, we have High, who messed up the early game completely, and he's still pressuring the map really well. And that's, if you just think about it, I think Cyanide hasn't done his job very well this game. Despite High getting despite XPK getting a solo kill on High, what has Cyanide done this game so far? 12 minutes. I don't think not much of anything. I mean, he got levels early. He chose to, and mid lane died for free, right? Yeah, you know, these things did happen. So sometimes it's kind of hard to do anything, really. Bottom lane is probably the only lane he could have done something in, but once again, in a Zyra lane without exhaust too, it's really hard. I mean, if Zyra had exhaust, you could just flash exhaust to Thresh, and yeah, walk up exhaust, flash E. That could kinetic kill bottom lane, but because they go ignite, they don't have that luxury. So Pantheon, well, at least he's 6. Now Cyanide can actually gank. And also with all the roaming that's happened, Vayne has just sat bottom this entire game, and now Silver's lost CS lead. She had like almost 20 CS lead earlier. Now it's only 15. Anyways, how has this game changed? Despite the early first blood, like in 4 or 5 minutes, Fnatic hasn't snowballed the game out of control. They're up 2K, and what are their winning lanes? The top lane slightly winning, but you know, it doesn't really matter, honestly, that their top lane is winning, because I mean, unless Renekton comes down to do a bunch of shit after pushing top lane, then it won't matter. What to me the surprising factor is that LeBlanc and Pantheon haven't taken over the game. It still feels like to me that C9 is dictating this pace, the pace of the game right now, which they are. Because look at the map, they're pushing up mid lane, and Gragas is roaming bottom. This is four people bottom lane, and they're missing out mid lane EXP and creeps at the same time, like, and they took tower. So to me, C9 has the control in this game right now. Especially after taking tower, now Silver can just walk here, walk there, take more towers, you know, wait till our next ultimate cooldown. And Fnatic does not have wave clear. That's probably their biggest weakness, actually. Not only are they not able to 5v5 very well, but they don't have wave clear. Wow. Very ill-advised Pantheon. This is why in past videos or past analysis I've always said, as Pantheon, you cannot use Pantheon ulti unless you have vision. As dumb as it sounds, like, you know, Pantheon has a global and everything. Like, if you look at Fnatic's vision right now, why would Pantheon ever ulti without all of this vision. Like, literally, he's literally blind. He's blind ulting a Gragas. To me, that's very risky. It's just very risky, you know? Like, if he had Flash, he probably would have been able to get out for free. There's really no point there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. C9 caught out. And Renekton's down there. Even if it went... That was a little weird. I feel like C9 was in control of that situation too, because they have all the wards. But I have to watch the replay. Don't know exactly what happened there. But it is a 5-on-4, and that's a big deal. It's pretty much the Renekton... The Renekton advantage from top lane actually paid off. Because right now they actually got the bigger objective. Like, it doesn't matter if Renekton gets one tower over Shyvana because he had early game advantage. What matters is whether or not Renekton can translate that one tower into more objectives, you know? And that's what happened. Because you can pretty much think about this game as entering different phases of the game, and these phases only occur because tower drops down, you know? It only occurs because a dragon was taken, all the outers were taken, stuff like that. So in this case, Renekton took the tier 1 tower, and that allowed Renekton to make a roaming play to dragon for free. That's it. But had Renekton never taken that top tower, the opposite happens. Like, even if Renekton comes down for dragon, let's say hypothetically, he never took top tower, Balls will take the top tower of Renekton's, and the next time dragon comes up, Balls will push up, and then he'll come down to dragon, you know, and Renekton will miss out on some waves. It doesn't matter how you play the creep waves, but it's pretty much in competitive play, small edge advantage you have, you gotta translate that into something. If you can always push in your opponent mid lane, you want to be able to roam. So that's what Hai has done well this game. He's been able to push despite dying early. It is Gragas, so I thought Gragas dying early would have affected him a decent amount, but it hasn't. It's Gragas, and C9's warding, I mean, Fnatic's warding hasn't been too good. I think that's their biggest weakness this game, despite them getting this great picking team comp, utilize rotations, whatnot. They just haven't been able to get the deep wards they need. Maybe that's Fnatic's fault, but maybe that's just C9 playing well. Could be one of both. Yeah, but right now, Fnatic, you gotta think about it. What can Fnatic do without map control against C9? Win conditions pretty much mean with their team comp, they can't do anything. I'll tell you. They don't have any siege capability, and they're against a Gragas. So there's really nothing he can do. You know? Fnatic's in a really bad situation this game. Despite them being up 2K, it doesn't mean anything. A lot of times, the gold indicators throw a lot of people off. Right, what you really need to think about right now is look at both team comps and look at the map, and then reassess what each team is capable of doing. Right now, C9, they did deny deep warding for a while. Now, Fnatic, they got a few wards out, but nothing really substantial. Because C9 is constantly clearing these wards. Like, look at the bottom side of the map. There's nothing there. This basically means that if half of the map is free, which it is right now, then C9 can they can have a lot of pressure against Fnatic. And they can push them back. But it is a fight for vision. And with this pink ward, with creep waves pushing in, Fnatic can't do as much. But yeah, a lot of professional teams. You gotta actually stick to your guns, like your team comp. What can you do? Gragas, Thresh, Sivir, really good at picking people off in the jungle. Let's get some vision. Fnatic, Pantheon, LeBlanc, Zyra, you know, pretty good pick off in the jungle, pretty good for picking off anyone overextended, but both team comps do utilize, they just utilize control over everything else. Wow. No. Ooh. Meteos going down. Whoa, whoa. What's going on here? Wow, he died. Snaky, please. Uh-oh. 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 Damn. Yep, that is a free Baron. That was a pretty big misplay. I don't even know what happened. Alright, biggest thing I don't know what happened is why did Meteos get like 100 to 0 for free? We missed that on screen because we were watching the top lane against Renekton, so I didn't have the camera there, but pretty much what it is Lee Sin is just too shit against LeBlanc. Really, like, this LeBlanc late game against Lee Sin, you just like, you get, the moment you get silenced, you just walk around, you're not very tanky, you're super squishy too as Lee Sin. Especially with the Lee Sin, like, if you look at the items, I mean, this is a Lizard Elder Lee Sin with a Sightstone against LeBlanc with the DFG and almost having a Void Staff. Like, there's really nothing to see. This Lee Sin will just die immediately, instantly die. That's one of the problems of Lee Sin against pretty much AP burst assassins, especially ones with silence. Cassin poses a big problem if Cassin ever rips forward. QEs you, Lee Sin. Lee Sin can't do anything. With all the outplay, everything Lee Sin's supposed to do, can't do it because he gets silenced. But with Baron, Fnatic, pretty much, they can't really end the game. That's the thing you gotta see here, because they have Pantheon, LeBlanc, Renekton, Zyra. There's almost no way they can push into a Gragas. What they have to do is they have to dive with Pantheon, deny enough vision. Maybe Pantheon can come from behind. Renekton can go crazy under tower because he's super tanky, and then they have a chance. That's what they're Baron. They could do it. It's not impossible. It's still very hard right now, even with Baron. Yep. So. I like that ulti. And also Sivir is, they're super scared. Yeah. It's basically Pantheon. When you don't see Pantheon right now for C9, you're just really scared, like, where is he? But you know, it really doesn't matter, because I actually think it's a mistake what Fnatic's doing with Pantheon, because the real thing is, like, Pantheon, already from top side of the map, Pantheon can jump to the middle tower. So if anything, it offers you false sense of security that Pantheon top lane can't dive Sivir, right? Oh, joke's on you, go into the brush, ult bottom. I don't like how they're not using Pantheon in any lane. I feel like it would cause a lot more pressure. Well, I guess if that happens, then it's worth. Yeah, I didn't expect High to get caught out. But actually, yeah, you're right. That's right. I am wrong there. If had Pantheon been standing with the Gragas or trying to walk up, you couldn't do anything, right? There's no way you're going to flank the Gragas. It's an impossible situation to be able to grab someone. But in that case, I feel like Pantheon should have been mid lane with LeBlanc. But also with the fact that Pantheon's out of vision, it makes it so that C9 can't forcefully engage. But at the same time, C9 can't even engage because their main engage, which is Sivir, was mid lane holding against LeBlanc. So still, I still feel the Pantheon should have been in the lane. But yeah, right now Fnatic's showing that they're not afraid to dive. They're gonna split all your outers down, and then once you're down to your inhib towers, Fnatic's gonna have a choice to make. We're either gonna bait Baron or keep going. C9, they're just completely playing defensive now. There's nothing they can do. If they win a team fight, everything will change. They're finally gonna have a chance to breathe. But Fnatic is playing this really well. They're not giving C9 a chance to breathe. Less experienced teams would probably send someone up here to clear this massive creep wave. But really, this creep wave, it's pretty big, but it's not gonna end the game in any way. By clearing the wave, if anything, it's gonna allow C9 to get wards up, and that's what you don't want to happen. That was a crazy team fight. Pretty much just because Yellow Star got caught. But nothing to see this game. Lee Sin still has 0 MR items. I feel like Lee Sin just keeps getting bopped by LeBlanc. It's way too hard to play around. But in a 5v5 team fight right now, if no one gets caught out, like flat out, like oh God gives LeBlanc gives someone, if it's like everyone knows relatively where their positions are, then I still feel right now with even maybe there's an item disadvantage though that C9 has a very natural advantage in the 5v5. Silver ultimate, too strong. Gragas burst, too strong against the backline. Actually, I take that back. Fnatic also has a pretty good answer to most of C9's strengths in team fights, mainly because LeBlanc is very, very hard to hit with anything of Gragas's, and so is Vayne, really. And there's no real lockdown for Vayne, and that's the biggest problem. With a Warmog Pantheon and a Renekton front line, Vayne will pretty much be able to get free roam here. Not much they can do about the Vayne. And Renekton will be very hard to deal with his build. He does a ton of damage, and he's really tanky. So you gotta focus him, and it's hard to kill him. It's the worst combo. Whereas you have like Sivir, Gragas, anyone slightly out of position will get instantly popped by LeBlanc. What? Oh wow. Great Zyra ulti there. That was a lot of mistakes for Fnatic execution there. The Pantheon ulti was too shallow. The chain from LeBlanc was free, but it missed anyways. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because C9 walked into them and they're overextended, and that Zyra ulti caught them all right here. Wow. It's a 4-man knockup. That was great playing by Soas too. If you saw that, he just immediately went for Sivir and like almost one-shot Sivir. That was really good by Soas actually. With Sivir not being able to do any DPS, scared of like residual damage, ends up in a free Baron. And once again, C9's gonna be in the back foot. Win conditions now. Fnatic's just gonna do the same thing they did before. They're just gonna dive. And there's nothing C9 can do. That's pretty much going to spell this game out. So, just talk about the overall for this game. I feel like a lot of teams, they don't put enough emphasis on the 2v2 duo lane mid. In this case, we have Pantheon, LeBlanc. What AP champion could really live against this combo? Like, well, it's only a few that could do okay. Like, it's really that could do okay, like just okay. But win hard? Nah, man. Maybe the pure skill matchups, like a Zed mid, would have been great here. In my opinion, Zed would have been good. Then you have a few of the pseudo can do well mids like Ziggs, Orianna, except they also don't do well post 6 because Pantheon's ultimate becomes a problem with LeBlanc. So, if anything, I really don't like the Lee Sin pick. Normally, Lee Sin is always good, or you know, it's usually good, but against this one-shotting duo combo mid, not good. Especially with and against a top lane Renekton, Lee Sin is also not good, especially because you have a Shyvana top lane. So Lee Sin was definitely not a good pick for C9 here. And outside that, I do feel that Fnatic's bot lane was not well picked. Zyra Vayne. I mean, the Zyra has done work this game. I feel like Reckles could have played any AD and would have done pretty much the same. Yeah. With their team comps, any AD would have worked. No. The desperation, continual fighting. Top C9 summary of things for why this game went so bad is top side of C9 was too disadvantaged just by pure picks. Even if you disregard play, Shyvana loses to Renekton, Gragas loses to LeBlanc, simply because of jungle presence. And then you add in the junglers together. You have Lee Sin versus Pantheon, synergy-wise with their mids. Against other mids, yeah, Lee Sin Gragas is great. Against LeBlanc, it's not very good. LeBlanc is too hard to deal with. Pretty much like the better junglers against LeBlanc. Probably banned out. Kha'Zix, great jungler against LeBlanc because you just one shot almost out of the fight, you know, but can't because I believe Mios has played Kha'Zix many times this tournament. It was probably just banned out. But even then, there are other choices. Lee Sin is among the worst, so that spelled doom for C9's top half if they didn't play amazing. And for the bottom half of the map, Sivir Thresh, they did win early, and they did exert a lot of outside pressure on the map. Of the lane, I mean, and yeah, it wasn't enough. Hai also played pretty well despite dying early. He played really well. I just don't like the Lee Sin pick, and I think overall that was the biggest single factor in C9's loss this game. Even if C9 won hard, let's just pretend this game went completely different. Lee Sin would still be really terrible against this team. Lee Sin jungle will never realistically be even decent against a tank Renekton, because really tank Renekton is just too goddamn tanky. And Pantheon CC, Zyra disengage, a Vayne, a LeBlanc being fed on Lee Sin, unless you're DPS top lane against this team comp, is not going to do anything. So that's pretty problematic. So the pick was just not optimal. The play, I think with what they had, C9 played well, but they really just got out. They did get outdrafted here. Even though they have a more balanced team comp, doesn't mean too much because it's really hard to play against Fnatic's lineup with their lineup in lane. They'd have to outplay Fnatic severely, like massive ward control, force the siege, you know, stop Fnatic from farming early, maybe before the 20-minute mark, but they made a few mistakes, and that's why they were unable to get into that position. And also, Fnatic did play decent. Damn, he juked their entire team. Damn, this Pantheon's fucking tanky. And that's the game. There were no real great lane rotations this game to speak of. No 2v1 mind games. No real vision control. No huge mistakes by either side. I feel like if you overview this game, like one misstep top lane, you know, roam down from Renekton for Dragon. Pretty big Dragon for Fnatic. And that was a pretty big misplay from C9 because they all died there. I believe they lost a tower and Dragon right there. And also, the biggest turning point was when Meteos dies in enemy jungle topside. And I believe he almost got one shot by LeBlanc. And because of that, C9 tries to save him. And then they get into this favorable skirmish. At the moment, you know, too many things are happening. You think it's a good thing. And then randomly, Vayne comes and cleans up everyone. So, I mean, those are just simple mistakes that happen in games. They happen in every game. But the biggest thing, to me, Echo, is the Lee Sin pick. And outside of that, I think it was a good game. You know, there was good ward coverage, good counter warning, good clearing. Execution of plays was pretty good throughout. Everything. It was just a good game. Only problem was the picks, and yeah, that's it. And that's probably it for my analysis. I am Chauster, and I am signing out.